It is the latest adaptation of Stephen King's beloved novel. The big, thick-ass novel. I got this, and I was like, oh, the new It movie's coming out. I'll read through it. I'm that far. I'm probably not gonna finish it for a while. But this has been adapted once before, the 1990 miniseries starring Tim Curry, which I would like to do my own standalone review on that, but depending, maybe. If you guys want to see me actually talk about it, let me know. But to be real brief on that movie, I recently rewatched it, as I'm sure a lot of people did, and anyone who's rewatched it in the last little while has come to the same conclusion, because it has like a reputation for, oh my god, I saw that as a kid and it was so scary, and then you go back and watch it like, okay, Tim Curry's Pennywise is great, he's really creepy, he's also really funny, but the movie's not very good. Like, the first half you could argue sort of is, because like, it's the kids, and the kids section of the movie is really good. Then the adult section, it kind of goes to shit and is really bad and over the top and just not good. But then again, I think those criticisms could be thrown at the novel. A lot of criticisms I have with the story, whether it be the 1990 version or this current version, certain things can be attributed to the novel. It's just that's how it was written and they're adapting it and they didn't change it. But now we have this 2017 adaptation, and this is only the first half, the children's half. The miniseries did both. The book is a big ass book. It covers all this back and forth between adults and kids. This movie is just the kids. We're young, I think they're all like 12-year-old children in Derry, Maine, the Losers Club, a small group of misfits. They're being tormented by this psychotic, creepy killer clown monster demon, so they have to team up and kick its ass. And yeah, that's it. And this movie has made some changes from the original novel, where it was set in the 50s and then the 90s, and this and that. This is set in the very late 80s, so that the new one, the sequel, where they're adults, can be modern times. Awesome. Plus, I just love 80s. I mean, Stranger Things. Quick tidbit, the Duffer Brothers, who made Stranger Things, wanted to do the It remake, but then were told they don't have enough experience, so they went off and made the best TV show ever. And then Cary Fukunaga, who made True Detective, wanted to do a version. He worked on it for like 4 years, and from what I've heard of the different details of the scripts he had and the ways it changed over development before it got canceled and they got rid of him and his idea, it's interesting, intriguing, but what's funny is a lot of what he wanted to do, more or less, it evolved throughout scripts, and a lot of that ended up in this movie. So for those that are like sad that, oh, that could have been a great movie, we got pretty much most of what he was doing. But this movie is directed by Andy Muschietti, who made Mama, and I've never seen Mama, but I kind of heard it sucked, so I probably won't watch it, regardless of how I feel about this movie. I don't give a shit about Mama. And then I just want to mention the writing for a minute, because Cary Fukunaga and the other dude who worked with him, Chase Palmer, who were working on the adaptation before this one, before it evolved a little bit, they're still credited as writers, so a lot of what they were doing is still in this. But then the other guy that wrote it, Gary Dauberman, he wrote Annabelle. Yeah, he wrote that piece of shit, but it's okay, because the movie actually turned out to be pretty damn good. I will say, this is a really good movie. There's some gripes I have, but overall it's good. And I'm not super concerned with how faithful an adaptation is to the book. The book has really good parts, really bad parts, real questionable parts. Y'all know what I'm talking about. The child orgy in the sewers. What the fuck? And to quickly go over this cast, which, yeah, it's a big group of kids, but let's give them all credit right now. First off, Bill Skarsgård as Pennywise the Clown. Fucking terrifying and creepy. Jaeden Lieberher as Bill Denborough. Finn Wolfhard from Stranger Things. Mike, I love him, but as Richie Tozier. Sophia Lillis as Beverly Marsh. Jeremy Ray Taylor as Ben Hanscom. Chosen Jacobs as Mike Hanlon. Jack Dylan Grazer as Eddie Kasprak. Wyatt Oleff as Stanley Uris. And Nicholas Hamilton as Henry Bowers, the mullet-having bully piece of shit. But I know that kid actually from a little indie movie called Captain Fantastic. He was really good in it. It's a really good movie that no one ever saw. And all of these child actors do a wonderful job. Fantastic. They're all great. And much like the 1990 miniseries, it's like the best part's the kids. And so having the whole movie be the kids, great. Put the focus where it needs to be. They can take their time. They don't have to rush anything to get to an adult section. Just let the story play out. And the kids all do really, really, really good jobs. As does Bill Skarsgård as Pennywise the Clown. Hey there, Georgie boy. Go on, take it. You want a balloon? We all float down here, Georgie boy. And when you're down here with me, you'll float too. Yeah, he's great. He's really creepy. Everything about him is really creepy and unsettling. The performance is great. The makeup, the design of him, it all aids him really well to be super creepy and occasionally terrifying. I will say at times they use like CG to manipulate him to try and make him even scarier. That's a little weak, as is another element to the movie to quickly just shit on because I disliked it. The sound design in this movie really sucked out a lot of my enjoyment of it, because Bill Skarsgård's creepy. He's given a good, scary performance. He looks creepy, but the movie has to overdo it. It has a severe lack of subtlety at times, where it's like, okay, if it's gonna be scary, yeah, you can do stuff, CGI distort him and do that to try and make him scary. But the other thing they do is just the sound volume goes up. It goes up to 11 and then a little bit extra, because it's just, every time it gets scary, just make it loud. Okay, we'll have creepy stuff on the screen, but we'll have to like overdo it because we're not confident, so we gotta just make it really loud. So it's not even scary half the time, it's just startling, where you're like, ah, loud noise. That's annoying. So even though there's a lot of creepy atmosphere in the movie, it looks really good. It's a beautiful looking movie. The cinematography at times, it is very creepy, dark, and you get unnerved watching it. But then it's just like the music and the sound design. The music has to oversell everything and do a build-up where it's like, okay, I know something's gonna happen because of the way the movie's going, and it's showing its hand that it's gonna suddenly loud noise, oh god. And so that really sucked out a lot of my enjoyment, because I was really into it and there's a lot of stuff about it I like. The performances, everyone does great. It's a really dramatic movie. There's characters with arcs and they're actually doing something. They're interesting characters that are really good as a group, the Losers Club. They feel like they have a real bond. They're really likable and enjoyable to watch. The movie's actually telling a story where these characters have to learn and get over certain fears, because Pennywise attacks you through your fears. Like Bill Denborough, poor stuttering Bill, his brother Georgie, the death of his brother, like he has to overcome something really big with that. Beverly Marsh's home life is horrifying. Eddie Kaspbrak's mother is like overbearing and like babying him to make sure he doesn't break, as if he's Mr. Glass or something, and he's just a germaphobe and scared of sickness and disease. Most of the characters do have something more or less to do, some of them less than others, like poor Stanley doesn't have a whole lot to do, and then Mike Hanlon, they even took one of his like traits from the book and the movie and gave it to a different character. So Ben has, Mike was supposed to be the historian that was looking into the history of the town. Like that was supposed to be one of his things, and then they just gave it to a different character who's already got a love triangle going on, so it's like, bad decision. They give him something else, but of all the characters, he's the most that feels like an afterthought. Like, oh right, Mike Hanlon's in this movie, I forgot. And then Richie Tozier, Finn Wolfhard from Stranger Things, he's the comic relief of the movie. He's really funny. There's a lot of comic relief in this. It's a very fun movie. The kids, they're foul-mouthed kids, very R-rated Stephen King. Yeah, I think of like Stand By Me. They're R-rated, they're unfiltered, it feels lifelike, it feels real. And I enjoy that a lot. And as I said, it's telling a good story. It's actually, these characters are going through something, and it's like coming of age in the worst way possible by fighting and fending off against a demonic killer clown. That's pretty awesome. And the film, as I said, looks beautiful. The richness of the colors, the way it's shot, it's a great looking movie. At times, it's really atmospheric, but the scares in this movie, half the time, there's a few times, and I appreciate really subtle horror. I'm more of a fan of subtle horror. Sometimes it could be considered lazy, where it's like, what's the scare? A character is over here, and there's something in the background that we can see that they can't, and it's like getting closer, or just like watching them, or shit that's sort of out of focus, or you're like, what is that? I appreciate subtle horror a lot more than in your face, like a clown going, and then it gets really loud and it's shaky and it gets really fucking loud. And the thing is, like, they're loud, startling scares, and they're jump scares, but they're good jump scares. There's a quantifying element to that where it's like, I hate a jump scare when it's fake. When it's a cat jumping out of a closet, I hate the movie immediately. I just do. But like, all the scares in this are pretty much for the most part legitimate, where it's like there's actually something threatening or dangerous happening, like the clown's attacking him. It's just the way they present it with the sound design, annoying. So yeah, basically this movie is the Citizen Kane of Stephen King adaptations and horror films in general when compared to the 1990s It. You see what I did there? I know, I'm stupid. But yeah, this movie, like, it's good. It is good. There's so much about it that's really good. A lot of good filmmaking for the most part. Great, fantastic acting, really good writing. I'm really invested in the characters. I like the story they're telling. At times, it's just a better movie or drama than it is a horror movie, because the horror aspects are very hit or miss. But yeah, as far as Stephen King adaptation goes, this is one of the better ones. There's still definitely much, much better ones than this, but this is way better than the 1990s. It's the adaptation we deserve, with like things that could have been improved on. But overall, I was a fan of this movie. I enjoyed it. I can't wait for a sequel. I did really enjoy it. I like these characters a lot. It's gonna be sad to see them go, because this is the first half. We still got chapter 2 when they're adults, so we don't get these kids anymore. I'm really attached to them. I hope they get good actors to play the adults, because God knows, the 1991, that's where it all fell apart. So yeah, overall, it's a good horror movie. It could have been way better. I am disappointed. in that aspect that made it weak. I like the movie a lot for certain things. As a drama, it really works. As a horror movie, it falls a little bit short. The movie did a lot right. It did so much right with a certain amount of atmosphere, the way it's directed and shot, the acting, the writing. It's telling a good dramatic story. The scares sometimes really work. They can be psychological horror, the way he's messing with them to get the fear out of them. I would give it a B+. It's an almost fantastic, great movie, but it's a good adaptation of the book for sure. It improves on a lot of things. It leaves a lot of stuff that should be out of the movie, thankfully. The changes it made were more than deserving. It could have improved in a few areas, but I enjoyed it quite a bit. So yeah, head on down to the comments section, leave me a comment, because down there in the comments section, we all float. And when you're down here with me, you'll float too! Anyway, yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys later.